Hello, everyone. This is Cece Shatz, and you're listening to WGSNDB Going Solo Network. We are on goingsolomedia.com, and I want to welcome you to the show. This is Going Solo with Cece, and those of you that don't know me, I am the doyenne of relationship building. I really kind of help take you through some of the darkest times in your life, transition you into living your best life, your best single life, the life that you really want to live. And hopefully we encourage you and help you move forward into maybe looking for a partner or however you want to live the rest of your life. So that's what it's all about. Our shows here on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, they're all about singles, they're all to help singles, and they're all talk shows. So we are very excited about that. So tonight, our guest is going to talk about life is like sex. And so that got my attention. How about yours? And so I was really thrilled to be able to bring on this lovely lady. Let's bring her forward because I think we're going to have a good time tonight. Hey, Janet, how are you?
See, I'm wonderful because I'm here with you and your listening audience here this evening. Thank you for inviting me back onto your show.
It's great having you. This is Janet McKee. She's a speaker, author, a wellness coach. She's a certified high-performance success coach and the CEO and founder of SanaView. And so welcome, and tell us a little bit about how did you get into kind of doing what you're doing? You know, you're a success coach, you're really trying to help people become, less stressed in their life. And so tell us about yourself, a little bit of how you've gone through that, and then get us on that subject right away, which is life is like sex.
Yes, that was a major discovery for me. I'm excited to share that with everybody today. I was MBA in the corporate world, had a very high pressure, high powered job, actually worked as an executive in 2 Fortune 500 companies, and all the stress and pressure from that work, I literally crashed and burned and rose from the ashes through a great effort to share these insights with how to live a better life with everyone I come in contact with. I'm passionate about helping people because so many people out there are miserable, they're burned out, they're overwhelmed, they're stressed, they're unhappy. And we think it's because of everything happening in the world around us, in our lives. And we give our power away by saying, well, it's because of this person or that person or this situation that happened to me. But what I've discovered is that we have the power within us to create the life that we desire and that we deserve. And when we get our power back and really understand that it's up to us, and our choices, our attitudes and everything, then so much shifts and changes in your life. And that's what happened to me, which is why I like to share.
Well, I tell you what, that is fabulous because we do have a great deal of stress in our lives. I mean, I think in just today's world, there's just so much going on and, gosh, we've got the news that constantly reminds us. And so it creates a lot of stress. And then we have stress on our work, we have stress at home. And so let's talk a little bit about our subject tonight. And so how did you get on? Because when I asked you, what would you like to talk about? And this was one of the topics, life is like sex. So tell us, why do you think life is like sex? Is it because you're just like, is it like, us older people, you're just not getting any or what? Or we're getting too much? Is it a roller coaster ride? Or exhausting?
So the way, and just for everyone to understand that, Cece got some information about my book, Stressless Success. And the idea there is we think we have to stress and struggle to get to greater levels of success. And a lot of people get burned out because they think that to get to that next level, they have to give up so much. And it's actually where a lot of our relationships have fallen apart because we're have given so much to some part of our life, particularly our careers, and often not focused on our significant relationship. But what I found in my work is it's not true. It's the opposite. We think we have to stress and struggle to get to success. But what I found is the more you learn to look at your challenges in a different way and realize that they're actually gifts or teaching you something, and you look at things with a different mindset, different attitude, but you shift your energy around them, then you break down this wall of resistance, right? We have these walls of resistance we put up when we're stressing and struggling. And when you break those down, it opens you up to opportunities and solutions and everything that comes to you. One of the chapters in my book is titled Life is Like Sex. And that talks about our challenges. You know, when you experience challenges in life, they've often, almost always, have helped you to learn and grow and become the greater part of you, right? Because of your challenges, you have become who you are today, stronger, wiser, and that has helps you reach higher levels in your life. And let me explain why I say that life is like sex, because I was always a high achiever, by the way, and people are like, well, how you've been so successful because you've always been that way, or did you just get lucky? And I was, ever since I was young, 6th grade, I won like first place in junior Olympics and graduated top of my class in high school. As a matter of fact, I completely destroyed my high school graduation speech. And after that, went to work in Fortune 500 companies, which is kind of interesting because I failed at speaking at high school graduation. But when I started working at the first Fortune 500 company, I put myself through Toastmasters and then through Dale Carnegie speakers training. I went out to learn, because of that failure, I went out to learn how to be a better speaker. And now I speak professionally. So that challenge of failing at my high school graduation speech led me to seek solutions. Well, I was working in the corporate environment and had a really high power, high pressure job. I was promoted faster than any of my peers. I was literally on fire. And I was so much on fire that all the stress caused me to develop an autoimmune disease. And I landed in the hospital, and Cece, it was really bad. It was so debilitating. The illness was unable to eat. It created a situation where I couldn't eat. I had internal bleeding that wouldn't stop, and my liver was failing, and I couldn't walk. And prior to that, I was a young, athletic, aggressive career woman. So the doctors came to me and they said, Janet, we understand why you can't walk. Your liver's failing because you're allergic to the medications for this autoimmune disease. And so we have a couple options for you. One, we can either start removing your organs, or we can put you on medication that has a 15% chance of causing cancer. So I didn't know anything about natural health and healing, but something came over me and I said, no, I'm not doing either of those. And I got myself out of the hospital, and through a few years of trial and error, I learned how to heal my body naturally. And because of that, I became inspired to help other people. So I left the corporate world and went to Columbia University to study holistic health and wellness. And at the age of 54, I'm in perfect health, no illness whatsoever, no medications whatsoever. And decades ago, they told me it was impossible. So I look at now, and I had worked for decades as a wellness expert and helped many people not only prevent health challenges, but even reverse very serious health challenges. So I realize now that if it wasn't for my health challenge, if it wasn't for almost dying in the hospital and getting myself out, I would never be as healthy as I am today. And I would have never gotten into the field of helping others. So again, a challenge helped me to become stronger, wiser, a greater version of myself. Well, I was going along, great success there, until I hit the next wall in my life, when my husband of 26 years walked out on me and my son in an hour's notice, and not only left me heartbroken, and my family was ripped apart, but I was facing the brink of financial disaster. Prior to him leaving, he put liens on all his investment properties that I had developed for financial stability for our family, to buy a business that at the time he left was failing. So the small business loan was leaning my properties that I had developed for stability. And so I felt like I was standing on thin ice, but I also felt like the roof above my head was a house of cards, because they also put a lien on the house where we lived. I was depressed. I cried every day for an entire year. Day 365, I said to myself, wait a minute, I was always a positive, healthy, a successful woman. I need to find who that is again. I need to find myself. So I went out literally around the world and studied with masters in positive thinking, success, abundance, high performance, right? All of these things, achievement. And what I found was really interesting because each thing was like a delicious morsel that helped me a little bit, but I still wasn't finding myself exactly where I wanted to be until, Cece, I learned how to put things together in a really specific, deep teaching and methodology. And that's when success started to happen to me. And I'll get to why this is our title today, because as I changed me inside and I changed not just my thought processes, but the energy that I was giving off, opportunities were starting to just come to me. Like I was invited to be an author and a contributing author to a book with Brian Tracy. And Brian Tracy is a well-known business legend and multi-best-selling author. And I got selected to contribute to one of his books that became a bestseller. I also got invited to Hollywood to be interviewed by Jack Canfield, who's a multi-million best-selling author, Chicken Soup for the Soul and Success Principles and all these books. And anyway, I'm realizing sitting there in this interview that it's because of my challenges, right? That they fueled my desire for better. They forced me to go out and find answers for my life. So if it wasn't for my challenges, I would never be, right, at this peak of my life. And I'm at this interview with Jack Canfield in Hollywood, and he was calling me a success expert. And he kept calling me success expert. Well, the video crew thought he was saying sex expert. And it's kind of humorous because what's a conversation for another day? But we were laughing about it. Mm-hmm. But it made me recall a quote from a famous late sex expert. Her name's Psalm Isadora. Mm-hmm. And I heard her say once that there must be friction in order to achieve climax. And that to me is the perfect example of life. Mm-hmm. It's the friction, right, of our challenges. It's the things that force us to learn and grow, that help us reach the pinnacle of our lives, right? So you need friction to achieve climax. And that's when I realized that life is like sex. Our challenges are gifts. Our challenges give us everything that we need to create the better version of ourselves. So the next time a challenge happens, you look at it and say, wait a minute, what is this teaching me? What is this showing me? Instead of stressing out, you're like, I know something good is here for me. And very simply, you can just say, well, Janet McKee said this is just like sex. So kind of make you smile and feel a little bit better, kind of giggle to yourself about the very thing that is a challenge that's causing you to stress out. That's what
that's something. And you know what, you are so right that our challenges are what drives us sometimes to success. It pushes us forward into areas that we need to explore and learn and that kind of thing. But I just never thought about it being like sex. So that's a takeaway.
But what's interesting to realize is challenges are going to happen.
Yeah.
There are going to be things in our lives that we view as quote unquote bad. But is it possible that they're not bad? Is it possible that my health challenge, being in the hospital, was actually good? And looking back, it definitely was. If it wasn't for my health challenge, I would never know what I know today and help so many people and myself. So the moment of being in the hospital, unable to eat and bleeding, we choose at that moment to say, this is bad. This is really bad. This is not good. But when you learn to have more resilience, you learn to say to yourself, well, this appears bad, but there is something good within it.
Right.
And you stay calm. Here's the idea. your energy is calm.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people talk about the power of positive thinking, right? And we hear it all the time. Oh, you just need to think positively when something challenging is happening. Well, what I am explaining in this book, and this is very, very important to understand, the positive thinking is not the answer. When you are striving to think a positive thought about something that you are very emotional about, okay? Like my husband leaving, right? There wasn't a positive thought I could imagine or think about at that time. So we hear in a lot of the work that people talk about, well, you just need to think positively. You need to say positive affirmations. What happens is when you conjure a positive thought, like you're trying really hard to think positively, we have to realize that every subject is two sides of a coin. There's what we want, the good, the positive side, and the negative side. When we're working really hard to think a positive thought about a subject that we're emotional about, we're throwing both the positive and negative into our energy field. Okay, so let's look at this. Thoughts have feelings associated with them. And those feelings, those thoughts and feelings, think of them like a ladder. When we feel and think thoughts of anger, guilt, shame, right? What does that feel like? It does not feel good. It feels really uncomfortable. When you feel feelings of bliss, love, peace, joy, they feel really expansive and wonderful. Well, the people that are speaking about positive mindset, you just need to think positively, they're teaching everybody to try to leap from a low rung of a ladder to a top rung in one thought. And what happens if you try to leap from the bottom rung to the top rung in one leap? You're not going to make it, and you're going to fall off the ladder. What we need to realize is, because if somebody, let's say somebody has a health challenge, if they're just trying to tell themselves, I'm healthy, but they have fear, the energy of fear really behind that, then they are bringing more of that fear energy into their energy vibration. So you may have heard of that before, like whatever you're thinking, whatever you're feeling is this energy you're giving off. It's kind of like dialing into a radio frequency dial. And if you want to listen to classical, you're not going to dial to the hard rock station. If you want to listen to talk radio, you're not going to dial right. We really need to begin to pay attention to what is that energy vibration that we're dialing into. So if you have someone that has a health challenge, okay, back to that, and they're trying to think a positive thought, oh, I'm healthy, they're making it worse because they're throwing this energy of fear out there more deliberately. So it's actually harmful for them to try to think a positive thought, that dramatically positive, that I'm healthy, because they're feeding into this fear. Does that make sense? This is very different than what you hear in the world of positivity and positive mindset.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. We did have a comment here, and I'm going to put it up. I don't think we can actually help this gentleman, but he said he has, as you know, in the Middle East, there is no sexual culture for that. What do you recommend when you ask for sex from my girlfriend? So, that's a little bit hard. And, I try to address everything on the show. But there again, if you're from somewhere where the culture it's not acceptable, that's all I can say is that, you want to honor that. And, you can't expect your girlfriend to do something that's not maybe appropriate to your culture. So sorry, guy, I can't really help you with that one, but building a relationship is the most important thing. And so sometimes you build the relationship first without sex, and then you move forward. In our particular culture in the US, we don't necessarily do that, but unfortunately, I believe in the Middle East, you probably do. So that's all I can say.
Let me say something about that, because I know it's kind of a different sort of question than what we're talking about here today.
Yeah.
But everything's energy. And if you're in a relationship where the other person feels safe, they feel comfortable, they feel trusting, they feel loved, they feel adored, okay? Do you see what I'm saying? It's how they feel. They are going to respond in a way that reflects that feeling. What's really important in anything, so if you're going for a relationship, or you're going for a promotion, you're going for a raise, you're going to develop a new business, whatever this is in your life that you want, what's important is that you create within you the energy that you want to feel as a result. So let me explain. You want a promotion, let's just say, because then we're going to get to relationships. What does it feel like to have your boss bring you into his office and say you're doing such a great job, and we really admire you and respect you? Like, what does that feel like? It's the feeling that you want to focus on, and that affects your energy. So when you're thinking about a relationship and you want to take that relationship, bring it into your life, number one, because it's really important for the listeners of this show, we want to bring in possibly, a really good relationship, a really good companion, a life partner. You don't want to wait until that partner comes in to be happy, to be fulfilled, to feel sensual. You want to cultivate that within you. So for the young man that asked the question, it's not about getting someone to do something. It's about generating a feeling that brings together what you want. You want to generate a feeling that helps your girlfriend feel comfortable and want to be with you and feel safe and loved by you. But that's an energy. The energy that you give off is going to create the response that you get from others.
Yeah, that's a very, very good response. And then the other token is that, if she's hesitating simply because of her culture, you can't blame her for doing that. You can only love her for being, the kind of person she is. And so again, I do feel that that's exactly true. We're in relationships because of how they make us feel. We get out of them because how it makes us feel. And so if you want to, really have a very strong relationship, you want to work on the feelings of really combining as a couple, and creating a partnership, right? Yeah, I think that's so right. Well, I want to thank you for the comment, because I think it's super that you're listening to the show all the way from Egypt. So that's pretty cool. Janet, let's just take a really quick break here, because we're like midway in the show, and so we want to be able to let our sponsors when we are on radio to be able to do their thing. So we're just going to take a quiet second here to be able to allow our sponsors to be able to pop in a commercial. So if you'll just give us a moment. You guys are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. I am Cece Shatz. You're listening to the Going Solo Cece Show, and we'll be right back. So hang on, right just 1 second. Okay, we want to bring it on back. So this is Cece, and I am the doyenne of relationship building. You are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are on the goingsolomedia.com, and we've got an exciting show today here on the Going Solo with Cece. We've been talking about life is like sex, and really about success in your life. How can you do that? How can you make success in your life? And and that's very, very exciting. But before we get right back to our show, I want to share with you my email so that you can email me. It's goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. And then again, our websites that we have, if you want to see all that we're doing, just go out and check goingsolonetwork.com, or our brand new transition site, which is a transition into both your relationship loss, transitioning from that into transitioning into dating. So we have that too, which is goingsolonextstep.com. So again, we love to hear you guys. A lot of people email me with private information, want to ask questions and things like that. Please feel free to do that on goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. We love to get your emails. So let's bring it on back, because we've got a great show tonight. We have a lovely lady, Janet McKee. She's a speaker, author, wellness expert, a certified high-performance success coach. She's the CEO and the founder of SanaView. And let's bring her right on up to the show. Let's see here. There she is. Hey, Janet, welcome back.
Hey, thanks. Fun tonight.
Yeah, you know what? The first part of the show, I think, was really very good. And so I know our topic tonight is a little strange to some. They're thinking, what the heck is this? Life is like sex. So those of you that missed the first part of the show, you'll have to come back and listen to the rebroadcast. But we had a very, very exciting show, because Janet, you share with us your life a little bit, how you kind of got, doing what you're doing now, and being a success coach. That's a tall order for someone to be able to, really a lot of responsibility to be able to encourage people to be successful in both their emotional, personal relationships, and in their, in their health goals, and then also in their work environment. So tell us a little bit more about it.
So you said something, you see, absolutely brilliant. When we talk about a successful life, and we researched the world's most accomplished people for 20 years, and we found that they didn't only focus on their professional life, they viewed every area of their life as equally important. Because that you're having a challenge, when you're having a challenge in one part of your life, it affects the other parts. And this is what we talked about in the first half, that your challenges, right, they do help you become stronger and grow and wiser. And that's how you achieve greater levels in your life. And that's why it's like sex, because we had mentioned earlier that I'd heard that you must have friction to achieve climax. Okay, so I look at my challenges in the same way. And I mean that in a humorous way to make light of it, because when we do make light of our challenges, we experience less stress. And from that, we then can allow in more opportunities and solutions come to us. And that is success. That breeds success. But what we were talking about before is that it's really simple. So yes, you have to look at every area of your life, and the world's most accomplished people, they're always looking, even if their personal life is good, how can they get to the next level? If their business is good, how can they get to the next level? If their health, right, their spiritual life, everything, they're always striving for better. But again, what their understanding is it's not a struggle. You don't have to stress and struggle to get every area of your life to the next level. When you stress and struggle, you block things from coming to you, and especially in the relationship and the personal arena. We tend to focus on what's missing in our lives. We're focusing on the issue, right? Instead of focusing on the solution. And what happens is when you're focusing on what's missing, you're focusing on what you're unhappy about, or even that's if you're missing a relationship. But if you're in a relationship and you're focusing on everything that you don't like about that person, here's what happens. It affects your energy. It's like if you're angry at somebody, it's hurting you more. It's affecting your energy. And I'm going to explain that. When you feel sad or lonely, your energy, you feel that, right? Well, what we found in research is that energy is extremely important and extremely powerful. That energy that you give off again, it's like dialing the frequency into different radio dial, different frequencies. So whatever you give off is what you're going to get back. And this is extremely important to understand, because this is the secret to success. And I can say that, I don't mean to sound arrogant. I want just everyone to just take a deep breath and listen to me for a moment, because the power of this is dramatic. When we know that everything is energy, and that our energy influences what's happening around us, which, by the way, there's all kinds of science behind this with quantum physics and so forth. So what I'm saying is something that we really looked at the research behind. If you understood that everything is energy and that you are giving off this energy vibration, and you understand that that is affecting what's happening around you, then guess what? You have complete power over your life, because you have the ability to influence your energy, to improve and elevate your energy vibration. I was speaking earlier about somebody trying to use positive thoughts deliberately, right? They were conjuring up a positive thought about something they were upset about, and how it actually makes it worse, because by forcing a positive thought, you're throwing fear or whatever you are emotionally upset about into your energy field. You do not want to force some of these thoughts, because you're messing up your energy, and that's going to affect the way people respond to you in your life and the way things happen in your life. So the way to do this is to really begin to pay attention to not just the thought that you're thinking. It's not just in your head. It's not just in your mind. That is a good place to start. But I want you to pay attention to what you're feeling, what it feels like. If you are feeling some emotions that are like low vibration, fear, anger, shame, whatever, then I was explaining earlier that you cannot just leap to a positive thought. Again, that thought has two sides of the coin, and you're just throwing the negative out there just as much as you're trying to throw the positive. So you won't believe that positive thought. So somebody has a health challenge and they're trying to say, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, but they have fear behind it. They're putting fear out there because they're not believing that they're healthy, because they're feeling pain. So the idea is to begin to climb the ladder one rung at a time, very carefully. So I was working with a CEO of a big company, and she was having this pain in her abdomen, like I explained, and she was trying to use positive affirmations to make a shift. Well, she had so much fear, she kept putting fear out into her energy field. So we started slowly by saying things like, well, wait a minute, I'm a smart woman. My body is just telling me that something's out of balance. I know that when my body starts to tell me something like this, I need to find solutions. And once I find the right solutions for me, my body will be able to adjust and heal itself. Like little thoughts that she believed are what we did to climb the ladder. As we climbed the ladder slowly with more and more positive thoughts that she truly believed, her energy was improving. And as her energy was improving, guess what happened? She started to feel better physically, mentally, and emotionally. Solutions for her health began to arrive. They literally, like we think of serendipity sometimes, like, oh, isn't that a neat coincidence that happened? You actually create those coincidences in your life. You create serendipity from your energy. So the key to life is to not only be paying attention to what's going up here, but really paying attention to what you're feeling. What energy are you giving off? You know, just like people have a sixth sense about you. Like if you walk into a room and you're angry or you're frustrated or you're frightened about, you know, some kind of conversation, what result are you going to get? Versus going into a conversation or going into a room feeling rested and energized and clear thinking and fabulous, and right, you get a different result because people can sense that from you. Well, that sixth sense is actually people sensing your energy. So if instead of focusing only on your mindset and your thoughts, you begin to pay attention to what type of energy are you giving off, and practice ways to just shift it slowly and gradually and climb the ladder, you will begin to see people, possibilities, opportunities, solutions just flow to you because you have that more open, elevated energy. Does that make sense?
Yes, it definitely does. And you know, our topic tonight is life is like sex. And I think that if you really take what you were saying, where you are focused on your feelings and how you feel, and you know, move that forward, you can see the parallel of what you feel when you're, you know, having sex or after you have sex. So I get it. And, you know, those that are listening to the show, I hope that you listen all the way through. And then, you know, we want a good sex life. Let's face it. We all want that. But, you know, how do we get to that point? And how do we get to a good relationship? And how do we get to being successful in our lives as we feel we should be? You know, and that covers all elements of our lives. So I can definitely see the parallel there for sure. Let's talk just briefly, because we're going to have to close down the show here in just a minute. But I want to share with everyone that you have a brand new book that's coming out. It's Stressless Success. So tell us a little bit about that.
I'm so excited about this book because my life's teachings, and I have put my heart and soul into creating this book for everyone. And we are at the final stages, getting ready to publish within the next 30 days. And there will be a special launch happening around this book. We're practically going to be giving it away. We want to get it into people's hands because those that have read it so far say it's so valuable. We need people to get this book and to open it up and begin to absorb the teachings. It is the secret to how to shift away from stress and struggle, away from the negative energy, and bring each of you to that elevated level so that new partners, new lovers, new business opportunities, you know, new solutions, new possibilities you didn't even think of begin to flow to you because of that elevated energy. And I teach you exactly how to do it and how to just combat today's pervasive negativity and fear, like you mentioned, is everything.
Yeah, it affects us all the way around. And if we do want, and our subject tonight is about sex, if you do want to have a good sex life, you don't want to have stress. So you got to be able to relieve some of that stress. And so I think the book will be very good. So Janet, we can go to your website, right? It's Janet McKee, that's MCKEE.com, and you can just sign up for it right there. Also, the name of the book is Stressless Success. That's STRESSLESS, Success. And of course, Janet is the author.
I'm giving away bonuses.
Okay.
I'm just giving away a free 3-day Stressless Success shift plan for people to just hop on and make that shift from stress to success. I'm also offering complimentary strategy session with me. If anybody would like just free opportunity to talk and get some success coaching. to help you make that shift, and the personal strategy document. So just by going to janetmckee.com, I have things I just want to give to you. And when you sign up for that, I'll let you know when the book is being released, because those of you that have been listening are going to be offered I think we're going to do like $1 or something to just get access to the book, because I wanted you to have it in your hands. The whole idea behind it is to help you advance your life.
Oh, that's wonderful. And of course, you guys can reach Janet if you want to send her an email. It's janet@janetmckee.com. And another little secret is that she is one of our elite guests. And so you can find all her information right on our website, which is goingsolomedia.com. Just go to the elite guests, click her name, and all of her information is right there. If you want to go directly into her site, you can click that. It'll take you straight into her site. Sign up for the book and get that and all of the other free elements that she's offering here, because they're pretty cool, and I think I might like to do it myself, so I think I'm going to sign up. But yeah, I appreciate it very much, you being on the show. You're a star. Our elite guests really stand out above everyone, because they just give and give of themselves. Janet's been on the show before. She's on it tonight. And she's really, helping people every day with trying to relieve some of this stress that we're all kind of feeling here in the United States. And so I really appreciate it. And I know that you do coaching from anyone. So it doesn't matter if you're in Canada or London or wherever, as long as you have an internet connection, you can reach Janet. So there's not a problem with that. So yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you again for being on the show.
I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, it goes by very fast. And when we talked about this subject, I thought, oh, this is kind of interesting. Life is like sex. But you know what? It is kind of like sex. And think about it for a minute, guys and gals. If you come home and you're in a bad mood and things have gone bad or whatever, the last thing you probably do want is that. Maybe not all men, but most of the time women. But then again, if you can raise your vibration level, as Janet's been saying, you can be positive about things that are happening in your life, but you have the control of that, right? You can create that shift, and then Janet's going to show you how to do that, and especially in her book. So I think that's definitely a wonderful thing. So I guess here we're going to close out the show. The last thing I would say is, I guess, guys, if you want more sex or you want better sex, maybe you need to buy the book and give it to your partner. And vice versa, ladies, do the same thing. Get the book and give it to them. Say, hey, let's read it together. You never know. Whatever it takes, right, to make you guys happy. That's what it's all about. Well, anything you'd like to say just in closing real quick, Janet?
Thank you, Cece. You're doing such good work in the world, helping so many people share these ideas. And if it wasn't for you and the great work that you're doing, I wouldn't be able to share my ideas to help people. And that's what I'm all about. So just thank you. And thank you to all the listeners for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. You're so welcome. It's wonderful. So again, her website is janetmckee.com, and her new book is called The Stressless Success. She's the author. It's wonderful. You can go right to her website. Again, if you guys forget, just go goingsolomedia.com, click on her elite page, and all of her information is right there. Also, the last show that we did is there, so which is a great show. Wonderful, wonderful information. And thank you so much, Janet. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good
Wow, the time goes by so fast. It truly does. You guys are listening to Going Solo with Cece. I am Cece Shatz. This is WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. I hope you guys will stick around here tonight, because we've got the boy and girl thing coming on. It's an exciting show. We have Ryan, who is a love and relationship coach, and she's going to be on that show. So I hope you'll stick around for that. After that, we're going to have another great show. We're going to have the Health and Love and Life show with Arnie. And Arnie's going to be talking about, just really helping it. I mean, all the things that he's got is it's just spot on. It just really helps move us through to really living our best life. And then after that, I'm really excited, because we're going to have, this gentleman on, and Dr. Christopher Salute's going to be talking to him about Mr. Switch. Have you ever heard of him before? I have not, but he is really in the entertainment world in Las Vegas, and we're going to hear a little bit more about that. So that is going to be really cool. So we got a lot going on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. So I am Cece Shatz, the doyenne of relationship building. I hope you enjoyed Janet McKee as much as I did. She's a wonderful, beautiful lady, and she is one of our stars, one of our elite guests, and we're so proud to be able to have her on the network. So bye for now. I'll catch you next week. We got an exciting show planned next week. Bye. Thank you, everyone.